Rusty Quill presents.
Welcome to Ain't Slayed Nobody. This is an actual play podcast intended for adults, and may contain material that some people find disturbing. Please see the episode notes for content warnings, and listen with care.
Meanwhile, back at the pie shop, what are you doing, Moyra and Roland?
Do you think we should look into this church they were involved with?
Yeah, maybe so, but I haven't been out here, have you? Have you been to the shop before? While we're here, I mean, may as well take a look.
Perhaps I should mention, on my way home last night, there was this strange 7-foot-tall lady who's missing an arm. She told me to stay away from her family.
You're just full of weird secrets, aren't you?
It wasn't a secret. I just forgot that it just happened last night.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to forget, I understand. Why don't I follow your lead on this? If you want to go to the church, I'm happy to do that, but I thought maybe, there might be pie in there.
Didn't Miss Archer stop by?
I think so, but...
Well, the pie would be human meat, right?
Maybe some of it, but we could take a look, right?
Have you ever tried?
Well, I told you about my condition, so...
That you remember. Actually, do you remember what you do?
I don't, but I do remember picking the flesh out of my teeth.
Wow.
Sorry.
Well, we could have a look inside. Do you want to look?
Yeah, let's just take a quick peek around.
If you say you're with Hargrave House, the police constable is supposed to let you in. Out of character, we've seen the flat above the pie shop. We have seen the
basement,
nightmare basement, and we have not seen the kitchen or the front of the house yet. Or the front of the pie shop.
Yeah.
So let's, I think, make our way to the kitchen.
Yeah, we're beelining there to look at the pies now.
Mm-hmm.
It will have been some time since pies were made because family is all on the lam or incarcerated presently.
Are there fridges?
No, there wouldn't be anything like that. But I will tell you what you see in the kitchen, though. In the kitchen, there are bundles of herbs and garlic hanging from the ceiling. There is an enormous brick oven where they would make the pies. There's a light dusting of slightly burnt flour on most of the surfaces. Let's paint the scene, everyone. The Figgs enjoy working together. What do we see that confirms this?
Could there be like every different size like oven mitts that maybe aren't used anymore but show that like from, and they've like framed the ones from childhood?
Yes, good. They seem like the nicest people, if not for the fact they're well, not overt. We said it, like,
he's just like going through his emo phase.
Yeah.
A few of the pie tins have been painted by what is obviously a childish hand. And have got little things like, smiling suns and flowers on them, and the occasional thing that may be a blood spatter.
Maybe there's like different qualities of pottery, like they've used the oven as a kiln to make little kind of family cute pottery. But some of them are clearly like more childish.
I liked Josephine's thing about like the growth of it, because I was picturing like long counters that allow multiple people to stand them, and then also like these little stools, like little standing stools that the children could have stood on while they were really young. The whole space feels like it's made for people to be standing next to each other, like assisting.
Love it.
Is this what they mean by cozy horror?
Indeed. Well, so what do you do once you're back there?
No pies.
I'm going to take a peek in the oven. See what's left inside.
Go ahead and make the information move with reason.
All right. I doubt I have any of that. Let's see. It's been a while. So I have 0. All right. Let me roll that. Ooh, 10.
Nice. And what are you doing, Ms. Innes?
Yeah, while Mr. Kessler's looking in the oven, I think Miss Innes is looking... We heard the song, right? That's about we have all of that information, the song about the Figg family.
You do, yeah. Yeah, that's the basis of your investigation, yeah.
I think Moyra is looking for any clues as to where, like, if there's a box of, like, items that would be left over, you know, like whether it's a ribbon from someone's hair or a brooch.
Mm-hmm.
Items from the victims left over, because she's trying to figure out the kind of victims Obert likes. Yeah, what he's into.
Okay, yeah, so just sort of generally looking around, I'm into that. Make the information move with reason as well.
Maybe even the trash, right? Like what's not getting cooked in.
Yeah.
Is it 5? Oh. Oh, well.
You will see a beautiful box tied with butcher string with a note that says, "A gift for our friends at Scotland Yard." And you undo the string and lift open the lid of the box to see a viper coiled up in the box. Unless you're putting on a mask, I'm going to make you roll the day move to avoid this.
Okay. What do I do for the day move? Okay.
Tell me what you're afraid is going to happen if you get bit.
Well, I'm afraid I'll die.
Terrific. I like this. I think this is going to be... Well, so how are you going to deal with it once you realize there's a snake in the box?
Ooh. Well, think like a seal. I think I might just try to catch it, actually.
Okay, then, if you wish to continue, roll with... roll with vitality. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. Oh my god. What is up with the dice today? I got a 4.
A 4. Let me give you your clue, Mr. Kessler, before we get too far away from that.
Sure.
You're looking inside the oven, seeing if there's anything of use inside the ash or whatever, the ash pile.
Mm. Meanwhile, Moyra is chasing a snake in the background. So I'm looking in the oven.
You find inside the oven, unburned, a strand of blonde hair. That's your clue.
Yeah, he'll snag that. Hey, Moyra, come take a look at this.
And that's when you hear Moyra shriek.
Yeah.
By the time you see Moyra, her skin is basically like puffing up and turning like black veined. There's blood trickling out in rivulets from her tear ducts. Her tongue is thickening and seizing up and going completely purple. And it's just like...
Yeah, I'll shoot her. That sounds terrible.
Just put her out of her misery. Unless, Ms. Innes, you are putting on a mask. It sounds like you are.
Yeah, I'll put on a mask.
I can't remember if there's one for the threat or not.
There's Mask of the Pig, which we haven't used.
Oh, there's Mask of the Pig, if you don't want to mark one of your own.
Yeah.
Each hunter narrates a dream about the pagan swine god Mock. Did Mock demand a sacrifice of riches, status, or blood? What did you sacrifice in the dream?
Ooh, yeah, should we do it? Let's all do the Mask of the Pig. Sorry, friends.
Sure.
The Mask of the Pig it is. Instead, Moyra, I'm just going to let you safely dispatch this snake however you want.
Okay.
What do you do?
I catch it, and I think it's like wriggling in her hands, and turns to Mr. Kessler. Can you eat snakes?
I think so. He's wriggling a piece of blonde hair. what he found. I'm sure you can, but be careful. That might be poisonous. We should probably throw it outside.
I think it is. I think I might have to kill it.
Oh, you just don't want it to go to waste? Yeah, go ahead.
I grab like a butcher's knife from the set and like put it down on the counter and like chop its head off.
Indeed.
You're full of surprises.
Well, I feel bad. But perhaps we can take it back later, or she puts it in her bag.
I'm sure Sebastian will find something to do with it.
What did you find?
Well, now it doesn't seem as impressive, but I found this strand of blonde hair, unburnt inside the oven.
Do you think perhaps he prefers blondes?
Maybe.
She like looks at her own hair. And it's like,
kind of reminds me of Julius.
Yes, Julius had very pretty hair as well. That snake, it said it was for friends at Scotland Yard. They know that I don't know if they know that we're looking for them. Maybe they do.
Oh, so it's for sure venomous then.
Right.
Yes, you did a good thing. That was smart.
Well, it's not its fault it's venomous.
That's a good point too. Yeah, so what now?
Let's cut over to Miss Archer and Mr. Melmoth for a moment. I think there's going to be a little bit of time to kill so that Julius, in the day, by the way, can psychically control rats to a point of getting the attention of Patrick Figg.
Sure.
In the meantime, I have a couple of scene ideas in mind. One, Mr. Melmoth, I think you are going to be approached by a Dr. Rodney Walters, who is at Bedlam, where Mr. Figg is currently being housed. Where might Dr. Walters find you?
Probably at Hargrave House. I see no reason in heading out until we're ratted up.
And Ms. Archer, you're going to be approached by Mrs. Brathwaite. Where might she find you?
Oh, I think Viola might be still trying to like blow off steam. So honestly, she might just be like angrily stalking around London, like moving through crowds, like angrily bumping shoulders with people and then waiting for someone to start a fight with her.
I did ask you to start a fight with James Whistler, didn't I?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So maybe she's just like psyching herself up. She's heading towards James Whistler.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's perfect because we know Mrs. Brathwaite occasionally hangs out in this area too.
Great.
She will get your attention. She's wearing her sort of sapphire colored day dress, with bustle and jaunty hat with, and of course her jewel. You know who she is. You haven't met her yet, but you've had enough secondary interactions with her. Yeah.
Everyone's talking about her. Yeah.
She says, Ms. Archer. This is just on the street.
Ms. Brathwaite, I presume.
Yes. We haven't had a chance to meet yet, formally and officially. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I was beginning to take a little bit of offense, but I shall console myself with the assumption that you have spoken to everyone else first because you were saving the best for last.
Let's say I chose to wait and bide my time with the person who is clearly in charge at Hargrave House.
You're speaking of me? No. By no means. Everyone is a free agent. I take no responsibility.
Oh, Miss Archer.
Oh, dear.
I actually came to offer something of an apology. I fear that there is starting to be a bit of tension between Brathwaite Hall and Hargrave House, and I do not mean for that to be the case. We are not enemies. We are not rivals in any sense. I actually would like to demonstrate this with a bit of a peace offering.
Ah, well, please proceed.
It actually has to do with Cremorne Gardens here. And I think you're very close to Cremorne Gardens, right?
Yeah.
You'll see some people standing in line, in the gate, paying their entry fee into Cremorne Gardens. You might hear an occasional pop of small firearms echoing out from the shooting gallery at the gardens, and the occasional shatter of glass from exploding milk bottles. I gather by now, surely you have determined that the so-called creature of Cremorne Gardens is in fact a hoax.
Yes. Yes, we are working on confronting Mr. Simpson.
Mr. Simpson. Well, that's what I want to speak to you about. Mr. Simpson has concocted this ridiculous scheme because he owes quite a lot of money to creditors, one creditor in particular, that creditor being me.
Ah.
I think, frankly, that this whole Cremorne Gardens situation is entirely beneath Hargrave House, and I would be more than happy to erase Mr. Simpson's debts so that he will not feel compelled to continue on with the charade.
Well, that is quite generous of you. I expect that there is something that you will also benefit from by forgiving his debts.
No. Only that, well, I don't want there to be any confusion about what I'm doing. I, of course, have taken in our strange fellow. And you should know that my interest in the so-called Limehouse Lurker is strictly for scientific inquiry.
Yes, Julia said something about an interest in immortality.
Well, I am a seeker, Miss Archer, a seeker of knowledge. I can't deny it, I have to confess.
I am also a seeker of knowledge. I wonder if in addition to the relationship that Brathwaite House has with Hargrave House, perhaps you and I could also have something of a relationship.
Yes. Yes, you must come to Brathwaite Hall sometime soon, Miss Archer.
I would be delighted.
Our hunting grounds are spectacular.
That sounds lovely. I wonder if perhaps tonight might be, or this evening might be too soon of an engagement.
It may be, but let me think on it. In the meantime, I will sort out Mr. Simpson for you.
Excellent. I'll let the others know that there's nothing else to be done here. Oh, although, I wonder... I suppose I do still have Mr. Whistler. I was going to use Mr. Simpson as a sort of outlet for some pent-up frustration that I do have. I wonder if you might be willing to forgive his debts after I have a moment to rough him up a bit.
Oh, Ms. Archer, Mr. Simpson is entirely beneath your notice. A completely weaselly, sniveling, unimpressive man.
Well, I can take a hint.
And she bids you farewell and good day. And that is the creature of Cremorne Gardens resolved.
Oh dear.
See, we're all just letting people Nice.
Hooray! No consequences whatsoever.
None whatsoever. I think that Viola is curious, though. Obviously, there is something that she will gain, or some upper hand that she'll have once she takes over the resolution of it. So I don't know who she'd ask.
She might really just be trying to bury the hatchet a little bit with Hargrave House.
That's true. I think that Viola has a suspicious mind and would like to trust but verify.
Trust but verify, indeed. For our purposes, though, the creature of Cremorne Gardens is resolved.
Amazing.
So that's great. And Mr. Melmoth. Ring, 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 ring at Hargrave House. Ring, ring.
Sebastian looks around expecting someone else to answer the door.
Someone does.
Ooh.
Julius has filled the house with his white-robed worshippers. They're just sort of roaming around.
I prefer to think of them as my worshippers once removed.
Exactly. You can hear downstairs the voice of a man saying, "I'm very sorry, is this Hargrave House?" And the cultist says nothing. There's no response. What do you do?
Oh, call down from the top of the stairs. Yes, they don't speak for some reason. I don't know if it's a vow or whether they've had their tongues ripped out. I should probably look into that at some stage.
I think I should look into it. That sounds like a fantastic and very, very interesting psychological matter. He calls up. My name is Dr. Walters. I'm from Bethlehem Royal Hospital.
Ah.
You see this man. He has a head of luxurious silver hair. He's taking out his pipe, which you can see even from the top of the stairs, looks to have some sort of Flying Dutchman motif. You can smell the very, astringent, chemical-based, clean smell coming off of him. And he steps in and he's looking around at this sort of Gothic monstrosity that is the entryway to Hargrave House, and he says, I was actually told by Scotland Yard that you're looking into the Figg matter here at this detective agency or something?
Something like that, yes. We are indeed taking a very lively interest in the Figg matter. Very lively.
Well, you should know that, and he's coming up the stairs at this point, Mr. Figg has been mostly non-responsive. He just sings his little song when you ask him anything. A fascinating case, really. I don't think any of the literature has ever covered someone quite like him. Someone really needs to write an article. It might be me writing the article, actually. I mean, it might as well be me.
Oh, that sounds perfectly wonderful for you.
Yes. I said mostly. He has actually... I did get him to open up, and... Well, it was a really, really interesting story he told me, and Scotland Yard, one of the fellows there, quite an annoying little man, Pettigrew, told me to come find you all and tell you what I knew.
Oh, D.I. Pettigrew is a dear friend,
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that for you. In any case, he seems to think that, well, we might be able to consult on this matter together.
Really? Well, I suppose any friend of D.I. Pettigrew's?
I wouldn't go that far.
So, what is it that you believe you can offer to our little investigation?
Well, I have managed to get Mr. Figg to open up a little bit, to get past his facade of sing-songy madness. And he has, well, he told me a story that might have some bearing on all of these events that are going on. It seems when the two Figg boys were boys, when they were children, it seems that the mother and the two boys were once trapped in a mine. A little cave-in. What were they doing in a mine? I couldn't quite get that from Mr. Figg. But it seemed that they were trapped there for a number of days, possibly as long as weeks, if I'm interpreting Mr. Figg's story correctly. And it seemed that in order to keep her boys alive, Mrs. Figg fed them her arm. Isn't that perfectly ghastly? And yet utterly fascinating.
It sounds rather endearing to me.
He doesn't react weirdly to that. I'm sorry, I'm just running off at the mouth and I haven't even met you.
This happens.
Yes, well, you managed to cut a very striking figure, sir.
I want to acknowledge the compliment.
He says, so what do you make of it? Do you suppose that this situation, that the behavior of the Figgs, is all just some sort of grand, grotesque trauma response?
I must admit I find myself largely uninterested in the motivations of others. We have been tasked with finding the Figgs and bringing them to, shall we call it, justice. But As to what motivated them to start devouring human flesh and feeding it to the unsuspecting people of London is, I think, entirely unimportant.
I agree to a point. I also don't particularly care about the Figgs as people. I don't really care about any of my charges so much as people. I'm more concerned about what they can say about the human mind and the human condition. I like to look at the bigger picture.
The human mind and the human condition are depressingly mundane things once you get to know them. I suppose if one were given to poetry and flights of fancy, one could see an entire world within each human being. But once you get to know enough people, you find that most of those worlds are just dull.
Well, that makes my work feel a little, unimportant, sir. But I have to say, I find you quite interesting.
Again, I will not acknowledge that.
I don't necessarily want to offer you lodging over at Bedlam, but, Bethlehem Royal Hospital, but we should certainly find time to have dinner or something someday.
Maybe when my social calendar is a bit clearer, but you do understand that I find myself with surprisingly little leisure time, says Sebastian, who is still dressed in his silk dressing gown, in the early afternoon, standing there sipping a cup of tea.
Indeed. That was a good scene. I'll let you have as a clue just this, the backstory of the Figgses.
Okay.
And let's continue on. Let's have another scene with Moyra and Roland. Okay, snake dispatched, clue found. Now what?
Perhaps we've got all we can find here. Should we check out the church? Or should we see if there's a blonde meetup anywhere in the city?
Blonde meetup? What does that mean?
Classic Victorian meetup.
I do like the sound of a blonde meetup, but maybe it's at the church. We could kill two birds with one stone. Let's have a look. I think it might be on the way home anyway.
Okay. Out back, like behind the pie shop, is it all cobblestone or is there like dirt somewhere?
You can make the information move with reason.
I'm just looking for dirt. Let me tell you why. I'm just trying to bury the snake.
Oh. But you might nevertheless stumble on something.
Okay, so with reason?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, come on, dice. There we go. That's an 8 total.
You can definitely find a patch of dirt. I will also give you a clue in a moment. I want to fast forward to Ms. Archer and Mr. Melmoth. Julius comes through. The day is getting on late enough to where he's walking around the house a little more freely, and he explains that he essentially projected himself into the mind of a swarm of rats and caused them to spread out across the city. And he's saying this with no small measure of pride. And fanned out across the city, eventually caught the attention of Catboy, and based off of Catboy's rather strange behavior. And he also makes a little side comment. It was not very difficult to find him. I'm really surprised that you hadn't managed to yet. And then he used the rats to lure Catboy. Catboy's presently in the neighborhood of the theater where you want him.
Ah, marvellous, marvellous. Then shall we head over to the theatre, Miss Archer, and see whether... Well, let's find out for a start how young Master Figg has managed to make his way into the theatre.
By all means, we've gone to all this trouble. Might as well enjoy the show.
Fantastic. Why don't we start with the interior of the theater, and you can kind of work your way backwards once you realize Patrick has entered. Let's paint the scene here. I want to get a view of the theater that's from everyone else's perspective, not just Sebastian's. How does this space show both opulence and decay?
There's probably a lot of gilded stuff that is started to like oxidize or I don't know how things, but it just like it's tarnished a bit. Like it hasn't really been polished in a while, but was at one point like very expensive, you know, like candelabras and you know, like large picture frames and stuff like that all around the theater.
Perhaps in the backdrops or even at the foot of the stage itself, like maybe there's like hand painted, like beautiful vistas that obviously would have cost so much to get done, but it's starting to, you know, fade away and become worn in some areas.
There are these huge ornate mirrors kind of throughout, maybe even on the ceilings, and they're all broken.
And the upholstery of the seats is velvet and was once quite plush, but has absorbed moisture over the years, is rotten, and in some cases the stuffing is just spilling out.
Fantastic. I think you're both going to be aware of how young Patrick got in, because you will overhear one of the, to this point, nameless, faceless performer worshippers. You will hear them towards the rear of the building. Backstage, you will hear her saying, There you are again. You sure are a strange one." And you can hear her, like, taking care of Patrick as if Patrick actually is a cat.
Well, I see the first problem with your security measures, Mr. Melmoth. You must better train your staff.
They're not my staff as such. I am going to go and have a word with this young lady.
Excellent.
I'm sure she has a name. I have no idea of what it is. I don't bother learning any of their names. What would be the point?
I'm sure I don't know. I shall go wait by the trap. Make sure it is prepared.
Indeed. Mr. Melmoth, as you are going to the back, you can hear her still talking. There. What a strange fellow you are. Oh, that's, you don't need to do that. That's good. Yes. Right. Good. And they're kind of just going on. You don't know knows what's going on. And then you just hear, who are you? Who are you? What are you doing back here? What is that? Come along, brother. You don't belong here.
Well, I think I need to interrupt this little family reunion.
What about Miss Archer? I don't know if Miss Archer's aware of it.
She's just like idly like making sure hinges are oiled and like things are disguised in proper ways, just kind of like admiring her handiwork.
If you wanted to have a go at Obert's question, you could theoretically neutralize both of them right now.
I mean, yeah, man. that would be great.
The opportunity for Obert's is to lure him to you. Presumably you lure him with the type of victim, but maybe we can play with that idea a little bit.
With the clues we've got, it does seem like he might have a taste for the ecclesiastical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess depending on what that actress looks like.
Maybe she's blonde.
Yeah, if she's blonde.
Blonde and very religious.
You know the kind. You know the type.
Such a stereotype.
I mean, she is worshiping Mr. Melmoth with her strange play, so, yeah.
It's a kind of religious.
Of a sort, yes. I mean, this is interesting. Do you want to take a crack at it? I mean...
Wait, actually... Because I had to define a clue for the Pinkerton. Can I, if I wanted to, like, move that over to this one?
Oh, yeah, because it's not defined yet. Yeah, you can, yeah.
If the actress can also be a clue and, like, it's the devotion as opposed to just, like, the actual worship of, like, a Christian god or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if we could somehow finagle the actress to be, like, physical and emotional vibe.
I mean, you could even make the argument that the theatre itself is a place of worship.
Perfect. Yeah, okay.
I think that's a great answer. I mean, the idea of if you want to use the body in the basement clutching the rosary, maybe you even see him handling the blonde hair of this actress he's just killed.
Well, because I love the idea of, like, part of Obert's type is there's something about, like, the worship, there's something about the blonde hair, but then also, like, the tending to his younger brother in the same way that his mother, like, in order to care for them, made this huge sacrifice. And so, like, when there are, like, caring blonde, you know, like, worshipers, he just goes nuts.
I mean, I think it's probably enough to say that, like, he's drawn to this, like, religious space. She did have blonde hair, which maybe he's, like, handling, like, in a weird way when you approach him. And of course, we know about the previous victim clutching the rosary. I think what you all have to do is, if this is correct, you have to just, like, tell me how you're, like, using it to, like, keep Obert here so you can capture him or destroy him.
Can I also suggest that the advert for the charity to restore the church in the pie shop window applies, because that's bait?
Oh, it's bait. That's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Oh, I hate Obert all of a sudden. He's the
Obert
worst.
sucks.
It wasn't the decapitating and replacing heads with pig heads. It was this particularly.
He's just so skeezy.
He's a skeezy guy. This would be a what then? A plus?
+2.
Let's go ahead and roll that and see how it goes.
All right, please. Oh my gosh. Snake eyes.
Oh no.
What the fuck?
Whoops. Oh. Damn it.
One thing we've learned about at least one of the Figgses, and it's probably La Hortensia, is they love laying traps. And indeed, as you see Obert collecting his brother and also stroking this actress's hair in a weird way, you will also see La Hortensia standing on the catwalk backstage, and she says, "I did try to warn you all to leave my family alone." And at this point, this is when you will smell the kerosene that she has soaked everything in. Unless you're putting on a mask, Miss Archer. Oh, wait, no, this is because this was to answer a question, wasn't it? Unless you're all going to mark a mask, you're going to have to deal with this fire.
We all have to?
You all have to for answer a question, yeah.
Do we still get Patrick even? Because that was the role for Obert, right? So do we still get Patrick?
I think Patrick is sorted. I think as long as you survive this, you don't have to worry about Patrick.
As long as we survive it. Great.
I'm very happy to put on a mask.
Yeah, we can do that if you want to mask it up as opposed to the place burning down.
Right. The theater, we're so fond of the theater now.
Although I am kind of curious what happens when your masterwork gets destroyed, but whatever, let's do this. Let's do this thing.
I think it just changes, right? It becomes something anew. Yeah. It's born like some horrible phoenix rising from the ashes.
Oh, God, it becomes street theater.
Everybody mark your mask. And what I'm going to ask instead then, Ms. Archer, La Hortensia is not there. And I'm going to let you be in position to deal with Obert, or at least get the jump on Obert as Mr. Melmoth is approaching. Obert is standing there. He's a gruesome guy, as we've established. But you can kind of see him better now. There's a lot more light now. He's wearing his long, bloody apron. He has a very thin, oily smile. And he has this butcher's knife that's as long as your leg. It's this huge, almost like Final Fantasy looking blade thing, you know? And he's like collecting Patrick. You can see the actress, you know, he kind of drops her head and he says, I'm very sorry to have disturbed the sanctity of this place, Mr. Melmoth. My brother will trouble you no more.
Oh, I'm perfectly aware of that.
Ms. Archer, what do you do? Where are you at?
When she became aware of Obert's presence, I think that she kind of snuck up and has been hiding in the shadows, positioning herself, maybe made eye contact with Mr. Melmoth to position herself so she's directly behind him when he's facing Mr. Melmoth. And then when it seems like he is within reach, she's going to strike.
Nice. Let me cut over to the other group for a little bit. Ms. Innes, you can find a patch of dirt to bury the snake. I'll also give you a clue. The place where you bury the snake, in the middle of all this grime, someone, presumably Mrs. Figg, has planted a really lovely bed of flowers. And the bed of flowers is lined with all of these like beautiful seashells that she must have collected over the years. That's your clue.
Seashells. Can I take them? I take them.
You can take them. Yeah. What are you doing in the meantime, Mr. Kessler?
I think he's like staring down at the burial plot for the snake. He's talking to Miss Innes while she's collecting seashells. He's like, you know, this actually reminds me of one of my fondest memories from childhood. A snake just like that bit my horse, and my horse, it's got to be Silver, right? My horse Silver, and well, he just collapsed to the ground and died like immediately. But my daddy came over and chopped the head off that snake and buried it just like you did here, and you know, I think that's the only time that he ever consoled me. We just sat there, leaning up against poor Silver, while I cried in his arms. And maybe it sounds weird, but it was just probably the best memory I have of my dad.
It doesn't sound odd at all. Moyra like walks towards you with her arms outstretched, says, "Do you need to cry?"
You won't tell Miss Archer.
Of course not.
You know how she likes to collect our secrets.
Well, this doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, a capital S secret.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I don't think he's quite going to cry, but he is just going to kind of put his head like on your shoulder.
There.
Just like Silver.
Where to next, Mr. Kessler?
I think I might need to go home.
Oh. Okay.
Or the church.
Ms. Innes, I owe you a complication from searching around back. And it's going to be a fairly simple one, though.
Okay.
How did seeing those seashells in Mrs. Figg's garden, or her little flower bed, how did it make you feel?
I actually think it kind of angered her.
Oh.
Seeing them away out of the ocean and here in this like dirt patch.
Take a condition displaced.
You're sort of angry when you hug me, just like Daddy was.
Stop. I'm sorry. The scene is getting worse and worse.
I'm not your daddy.
With all that in mind, let's move over to Miss Archer. Ms. Archer, sorry, say again, Ms. Archer, what's your approach here?
She's heard the voices of Mr. Melmoth and Obert and recognizes Obert's voice. Very, very distinct. And so she's snuck into the room where they are. She's hugging the walls, staying in the shadows, and she's kind of like crept her way to be so that he is positioned between Mr. Melmoth and herself. So that Obert is positioned between them.
Sebastian as well he doesn't mean to be acting as bait or a distraction here, but at the same time, I think he absolutely is, in that he's just standing there over the body of this young woman and looking over at the two Figgs and says, I suppose one might view this as you having done me a service because she was going to have to go. But I prefer to deal with disciplinary matters like this myself, and you have rather, I think, overstepped here.
Obert smiles his wide, oily smile, and you are the most beloved. And he says, Oh, Mr. Melmoth, you aren't normally my type, but I find you very, very intriguing indeed. I do wonder. I wonder about the tendons beneath that delicate flesh. I wonder about your succulence. I ponder the mouthfeel of your flesh. And he's dragging the blade as he steps closer to you.
Mr. Figg, I have been threatened a great many times over the years. I have been threatened by some very imaginative people in some very strange ways. And I suppose if I was not so inured to the whole business by now, that might have given me a little frisson. I do appreciate the effort you put into that. And under other circumstances, I would reward you for it. But I find myself a little tired of these proceedings.
He raises the blade.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Miss Archer is out of the shadows onto him. I'm going to proactively use a hunter's life, which allows me to define a special characteristic of my hereditary weapon, the twin blades, and how it was used before by one of my ancestors. And doing so allows me to bump the die roll up. So it's going to be a success no matter what, but maybe it'll be a roaring success.
A roaring success. I love it. Let's get the die roll done. So I think this is going to be the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I am afraid that they're both going to get away, and the only reason that would happen is because either Sebastian or Viola is hurt.
It's worse than that. He spins around with great skill and alacrity and cleaves you in two.
So embarrassing.
Indeed. Go ahead and roll with Vitality. Hunter's Life says that no matter what, you get to bump it, so.
Rolled a 9. With Vitality, sorry, that's an 11.
Okay, so it makes it 12.
Cool.
So you get a bonus as well. What was the modification that makes it particularly good against him?
In the handle of one of the blades, there is coiled up a metallic line that has a bit of a hook that can attach to the bottom of the hilt of the other dagger, so that when she pulls them apart, once they're hooked, she's got this like garrote basically, but it's long enough that she can actually also loop it over his neck and then wrap up his arms as well. So basically what she's doing is she's like coming up behind him, she's entangling the arm with the cleaver in it, and then she's tightening it around, like wrapping it around again and tightening it around his neck, and then just kind of like back foot into his back, leaning back as hard as she can.
Nice. And I think he gasps out his final words before his air is cut off completely. He just says, You think you've defeated me? But it is I who will suckle from the teats of the great Hisao. And then,
as he's dying, she leans in, we're going to get your mother next. Just kind of like trying to make him mad. Die mad, bitch.
And that is it for Obert. Let me just have a little bit of a denouement with Patrick. How does that go, Sebastian?
I'm assuming Patrick's still there watching all this.
Oh yeah. Well, he might be batting around one of the rats or something.
I think Sebastian just sits down on the ground next to him, near the corpse of this woman that his brother has killed, and almost absent-mindedly just strokes the boy's hair and says, "Well, what do you think should happen now, Master Patrick? Do you think we should hand you over to Scotland Yard, or do you think that we should allow Miss Archer to express herself once more?"
I think Patrick takes a moment to rub up against you like a cat would.
Yeah, I think as soon as he does that, Sebastian recoils and stands up. All pretense at flirtation and playfulness is gone. And he just snatches up one of the brothers' knives from the ground and slashes Patrick's throat.
That's 2 of the figs sorted.
Just to end this scene, Viola will turn around. She'll look at what Mr. Melmoth has done. Well struck. We should keep the bodies. They might be useful in luring in the mother.
Oh, that's good. I actually like that. That might be a good justification for, since you got a bonus on your move with the 12, I'll let you define a clue from the bodies to help you catch the mother.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Ain't Slayed Nobody. For ad-free episodes, lots of bonus content, and special programming, please join our wolf pack at patreon.com/ain'tslayed, or subscribe to Ain't Slayed Nobody Plus at Apple Podcasts. Nothing helps the show more than becoming a subscriber. See our show notes for full credits, and help us grow by posting friendly reviews and spreading the word to your friends and followers. Thank you, and good luck out there.